the decision is to gratify you and not to glorify God, that ain't God. Amen. If the ultimate reason you're going to do this is because, well, I like it, because I want to do it and it's going to be good to me. That's what it's talking about when the Bible says Eve saw that it was good to eat. It was pleasant to her eyes. And it was desirable to make her wise. But God said don't do it. Right? So if it's going to gratify you, and that's what your decision is based on, not glorifying God, that probably ain't God. All right? If it pulls you away from wanting to be in God's presence, probably not God. If it makes you afraid to be found out, that's probably not God. All right? Anything that God calls you to do, even if the world finds out you're doing it, first of all, it ain't something people are going to have to find out. If you're really secure in your walk with God and God calls you to do it, you're not going to be hiding it from anybody. It's not a hustle. All right? And it's one of those things where if you really are in God's will, the world can be against you. And you'll stand there boldly, I got to do what God told me to do. You won't be so uncomfortable, so insecure in the decision that you're praying nobody find out I do this thing. All right? Back to verse number 10. So he said, I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, who told you you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree which I commanded you that you should not eat? Now, listen at, I got to get my old black preacher on. Listen at Adam. Because this right here, listen, this one, this is for everybody, but for the men in the room in particular. Then the man said, the woman whom you gave me, she gave me of the tree, and I ate. Listen, 2 points to make here. Because what's the question that God asked? Simple question. Did you eat of the tree? This is a yes or no question. This is what we call in English a closed-ended question. But Adam gives a full open-ended answer. Right? So when you make decisions to be involved in stuff that you feel overly responsible for explaining / rationalizing, you have to ask yourself whether or not that's really what God called you to be in. Other part is, if you're making decisions that no matter how they turn out, you're not comfortable being held accountable for those decisions might not be God. When you got to blame somebody else because it went sideways, that might not be God. Right? Because if God called me to do it, you know, I love to say, hey, I didn't write it. Take it up with the author. I did what he told me to do. I don't have to, well, what's going on with the church? Is the church growing? Is the church being productive? I don't have to, they put me up to pastor. They kept telling me it was time, and then I was at this church, and everything went bad, and we all needed a place, so I have to do all that. If I make a decision about what I believe God called me to do and do it in a way that I believe is going to glorify God, I'm not responsible for the outcome. This is God's work. Amen? Amen. If I'm married to a woman that I believe God called me to be with, and I conduct myself in that marriage how I believe God called me to conduct myself, the rest of the marriage, that's on God. Hey, I can't do but what I believe God called me to do. After that, it's on God. I don't have to point fingers at anybody else, throw anybody under the bus to get the heat off me, because I don't believe that's what God would call us to do. Now, we have a generation, unfortunately, pick on the men again for a minute, where, and this was the same for me, it was a struggle early on in my marriage, and I believe God called me to be, head of the household, take responsibility, accountability for my household, but I didn't want to make any decisions in the house. I was like, boy, if this go bad, I don't want nobody looking at me. I'd rather just let my wife bear that pressure. put it all on her shoulders. Let her break down and go crazy having to make these. This wasn't my, conscious thought, but that's really what I was doing. Because I was where Adam was. That's on her. She handled the money. If the bills don't get paid, that's on her. She said this is where we were going for the holidays. I ain't, family, y'all mad because I went where the wife said go. All right. Ain't gonna get no amens right there. We're gonna move right along.